The Secret Garden, Episode 4, The Housemaid. The next morning, Mary woke up when a young housemaid came into her room. While the young maid cleaned up the cinders in the fireplace, Mary lay in bed and looked around the gloomy room. The walls were covered with strange tapestries embroidered with forest scenes. Through a window she could see a great stretch of land. It looked like an endless purple sea. "What is that?" Mary pointed out the window. "That's the moor," said the housemaid with a grin. "Do you like it?" "No, I hate it." "That's because you're not used to it. You think it's too big and bare now, but you will like it." "Do you like it?" "I do," said the housemaid. "In spring it's covered with growing things that smell sweet. There's lots of fresh air, and the sky looks so high. I wouldn't live away from the moor for anything." As the maid lit the fire, Mary listened to her with a puzzled expression. Servants in India were not like this. Her nanny and the others did not talk to their masters in such a friendly way. "What's your name?" Mary asked. "Are you going to be my servant?" "I'm Martha. I'll do the housemaid's work up and here and wait on you a bit." "You don't need much on waiting. Who's going to dress me?" demanded Mary. Martha looked at Mary in amazement. "Can't you dress yourself?" "No, my nanny dressed me, of course." "Well," said Martha bluntly, "it's time you learn." Martha helped Mary get dressed that morning. Then they went into the next room, where she set out Mary's breakfast on the table. "I don't want it," said Mary. "You don't want your porridge?" Martha couldn't believe this. "You don't know how good it is. Put a bit of sugar on it." But Mary refused. "If my brothers and sisters were here," said Martha, "they'd clean this table bare in 5 minutes." "Why?" Because they never have enough to eat. I am one of 12 children. My father gets only a small wage each week. The children play on the moor all day, and my mother says the air on the moor fattens them up. She thinks they must eat the grass the same as the wild ponies do." "My brother Dickon is 12 years old, and he has a young pony he calls his own." Where did he get this bone? Where did he get it? Where did he get the pony?" asked Mary. She was amazed at how the servant talked on and on. Dickon found it on the moor with its mother. He gave it bread and new grass, so now it follows him around and lets him sit on his back. Dickon's a kind lad, and animals like him. Mary had never a pet of her own, but she'd always wanted one. She began to be a little interested in Dickon. This was something new, the only person she'd ever been interested in before was herself. She drank some tea and ate some toast with marmalade. "You wrap you warmly and run out to play. Now, you run out to play now," said Martha. It'll do you good and give you an appetite." Mary went to the window and looked out. She saw gardens and paths and big trees, but everything looked dull and wintry. "Why should I go out?" on a day like this? Well, if you don't go out, you'll have to stay in. And what is there to do here? Mary looked around. There was nothing to do, but who will go out with me? You'll have to learn to play by yourself. Our Dickon goes off on the moor and plays by himself for hours. That's how he made friends with the pony. He has sheep on the moor that knows him and boars that come and eat from his hand. It was this mention of Dickon that made Mary decide to go out, though she was not aware of it. Perhaps she would see some birds. They would be different from those in India, and it might amuse her to look at them. Martha found Mary's coat and hat for her. Then Martha showed Mary the way downstairs and outside. If you go around that way, you'll come to the gardens, she said, pointing to a gate in a wall of shrubbery. One of the gardens is locked. No one has been in it for 10 years. Why? Mr. Craven shut it when his wife died suddenly. It was her garden. He locked the door and buried the key so no one could go inside. There's Mrs. Medlock's bell ringing. I must run. And with that, Martha was off, leaving Mary to wander outside by herself.